Check 1 2. Check 1 2. Just checking if we're live. Now, what I'm going to do until people start coming in is talk a little bit about this wonderful guitar that I'm holding. And if anybody is joining the chat, do let me know if everything is working. If you can hear my voice, if you can see my face, and if you can smell my odors. Let me know in the chat. Looks like the chat is fully active again, which is a great upgrade from the last time. Until then, I'm just gonna do some babbling about this wonderful guitar. I've been talking about this guitar a little bit on my Instagram for the past week. I'm on Instagram too, by the way. Please look me up there because it's a fun way to post pictures and talk about gear, stuff like that. So this is hello HCB. Welcome to the chat. If you're joining right now, feel free to drop some questions. I'll attend to your question very soon. HCB, thanks for joining this wonderful live stream. Anyway, so this guitar, I bought this guitar a couple of years ago. It's my LTD, my ESP LTD EC1000T full thickness Eclipse. It's very thick, like a proper Les Paul, and it's made in Korea. So this is from a few years ago. And yeah, I really like the fact that this is a full thickness Eclipse, and I put some golden EMGs in here to fit the rest of the hardware because it came with the black EMG 81 and EMG 60 or 85. I don't remember exactly which one was in the neck. And then I swapped those out for the EMG 57 in the bridge and the EMG 66 in the neck, which looks more classy. And man, this is just a wonderful guitar. The only thing that I would change, if I could change anything, was that it would be cool if it had a maple cap, because the body is just mahogany, but it sounds really thick, rich, and chunky. And these EMGs are quite nice. They still sound like EMGs, but they have a nice sort of clarity to them. And yeah, I really like what they do for metal and high gain rock. So it's a very cool guitar. Marty V, hi Jon, alles goed? Everything is going well, thank you. I'll babble on about this guitar in a minute, but I'm just going to answer the first question that we have going on by HCB. What preamp do you recommend for the MT15? I play metalcore and death metal. Preamp, do you mean preamp distortion pedal? Let me know. Because, I mean, there are a bunch of different things on the market. For instance, you have the Victory Kraken preamp, which is awesome. It's a tube preamp with a great sound. I have the solid state power amp version of that one, so like the proper amplifier in a box pedal. But you also have the preamp, which is just the preamp section of the Kraken, and that's supposed to be awesome as well. However, you already have the MT15, and that should do a great job at doing those tones. So I'm not exactly sure what you mean. Let me know. Let me know. And until I get more questions, I'm just going to put... so my friend Rockin' RBNO wants to see the lights. Check it out. Check it out, folks. Check my lights out. Don't get a seizure, okay? I'm sorry if I'm causing a seizure right now. It's quite nuts, isn't it? Whee! Yeah, I prefer to keep them stable at plain old white, the boring white. Okay, so I got more. You know who you are, and you know why I'm laughing. Arthur Hakimov. Hi, John. What do you think about the Friedman BE Mini Head? Thank you. Well, thank you for joining. The BE Mini Head looks really awesome. He's talking about that very little Friedman head, that solid state little amplifier that is basically based on the Friedman BE Deluxe overdrive pedal that I have somewhere over here. But it is like a small amplifier with a solid state power amp in it. I haven't tried it, but I would love to try it. It's supposed to be very awesome. It's an amp with only distortion, so it doesn't really have a clean channel, which is a little bit of a bummer. But for the distortion tones, it seems to be really cool. I'd love to try one. It's really affordable as well. So yeah, what's not to love, basically? I hope that helps. I have one Friedman amp in my collection, which is my JJ Junior that I have down here. You can't see it right now, and that one is awesome. But I would love to try the BE Mini head. It seems like a great amplifier. Yeah. So like sometimes you've got those guitars that you just hang on a wall for a little while and don't play. And this was one of those guitars that I had hanging on the wall for a little while. And I thought I didn't like it as much for a little while because I just wasn't playing this guitar. And then when I picked it up, I just felt so inspired again. So yeah, it's a really cool guitar. Mike S is asking me about this guitar. Yes, I was just talking about this guitar. This is my LTD EC1000T full thickness Eclipse made in Korea. It's basically an Eclipse, but with a thick old school Les Paul body, as you can see, which is great for the tone, very resonant. It's a very, very nice guitar. It plays really nicely, very smooth. The frets are very nicely done. Yeah, so I wrote a bunch of riffs on this guitar this past week, and I'm still working on one riff section for a future video. So stay tuned for videos with this guitar very soon. I'm going to be using it in videos more. And thanks for joining, by the way, Mike. And keep the questions coming, guys. Ask me anything. I mean, if you're new here, I got this huge wall of amps behind me. I'll put the camera out like this so you guys have a better view of the amps. Yeah, ask me anything about the amps. Ask me anything about my guitars, about recording, about playing guitar, about writing music, recording music. Ask me anything, and let's just hang out and chat. And yeah. So I'm going to continue answering HCB's question about the preamp. He says, I'm looking for a nice metal tone and without noise. Right, so you already have the PRS MT15, but that's too noisy then? Well, you've got the Rev pedals, the Rev G3 and the G4, which are great. You also have the Diezel VH4 pedal, which is also killer. It's not super tight. Like the purple Rev pedal is the most tight and fierce pedal that I've tried, probably. The Friedman BEOD Deluxe is also great, but it's a little bit more rock and rolly, if that makes sense. But yeah, like I mentioned before, the Victory Kraken preamp is supposed to be really awesome too. So maybe look into that, or put your money towards a little like either an engl Fireball 25, Iron Ball, or a peavey 6505 MH. Or an Invective MH. Great tight sounding metal amplifiers. They're not expensive. Could be cool as well. So yeah. And he also asks, what are your thoughts on 212 PRS cab and 212 PV 212 6 cab? I don't know. I don't have experience with those cabs, so I can't say for sure. Michael van Gelder, hello. Sweet. All right, got some questions. Do you end up copywriting your music as a group or as singles? Great question. At this point, I do not have a proper answer for you. I'm very sorry. Yeah, I don't have a good answer for you at this time. I'm sorry, but ask me anything else. I'm sorry. Jacob Singer asks, I have the BEOD Deluxe. It's great for old school heavy metal tones, but not so much for modern stuff. Yeah, sure. I can relate. It's a great pedal, though. It's a great pedal if you want to get that Friedman sound for a good price in a small little box. It's a great pedal. I have the sort of limited edition version. Let me see where it is. Let me look it up. I don't know where it is. I don't know where my pedal is. Yeah. Oh, it's on the floor here. Wait. Yeah. It's on the floor. Here it is. This is the Friedman BEOD Deluxe. It's a gray pedal. I mean, obviously, it's a solid state overdrive or distortion pedal, preamp, whatever. But it's a great pedal with 2 channels. One has a little bit less gain than the other. So this is the green channel, and this is the red channel. And I've got the limited edition that I bought on Toman. Yeah, and it's just a very cool sounding pedal. Great for spicing up your clean amps. But be sure to start off with a nice and neutral sounding clean channel, because, for instance, my Diezel 20HR has a very bright clean channel, and that doesn't always work well with these types of pedals. So be careful what you plug it into. Anyway, so that's a great pedal. Thanks for tuning in, everybody, and feel free to drop your questions because we're going to start rolling. Okay. All right. Chandler Motorsports. I share a lot of your tonal taste, but I'm pretty behind on more modern tones. So affectionately, I've been referred to as the gin, 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 gin sound outside of the invective recommendations. The gin, 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 gin. Okay. Well, I mean, there are a lot of amps that do that. You mean the very tight and articulate sound? Well, Engl is a great brand for that gin, gin, gin. EVH as well. So we've got some Engls here, and I've got this Engl Fireball 25 over here, and the Iron Ball as well over here, which is a great little tight sounding amplifier, very mean and tight, and it does not need an overdrive pedal to get that gin, gin, gin sound that you're talking about. The EVH amps do that also very well, and as you said, the Invective is also great for that. So I hope I'm answering your question accordingly. If not, let me know. But I love these types of questions, guys, so keep them coming. Chester Boyd, hey man, loving your 41 amp comparison. Ah, great. But wishing there was a Laney GH or VH100 to compare to, as that's what I use most. Any plans to get one in the future? Man, I love Laney. I'd love to get any Laney in the studio whenever I can. No immediate plans as of right now, but who knows? Who knows? I've heard things about those amplifiers, some great things. So I'd love to have one in the studio one day. We'll see. I guess that it's a little bit more likely that I'll get something new, if that makes sense. But who knows? Who knows? Cool. Tell me more about those amps. What types? How do they sound? Okay, Michael van Gelder. How about this one? Do you always use the standby switch on your tube amps? Great question. Well, I've got one amp that does not have a standby switch, which is my JJ Junior down here. Sorry, Double J Junior. Double J Junior. People get mad at me sometimes. I mean, I turn them on usually with the standby switch off, if I'm saying that correctly. And I let my tube amp warm up for like a minute or so before I turn the standby switch on. But it's not really a necessity, but I just do it to avoid noise, basically. But I know that it's not really a necessity. And I don't, when I turn the amp off, I don't wait minutes before I turn it off. I just flick the standby switch. Sometimes I wait like 20 seconds or something and then click, turn the amp off. I'm definitely not paranoid about that, and I've never had an amp break because of my wrong use of the standby switch or anything. So that's a great question, actually. No one has ever asked me that, so thank you. And again, guys, thank you so much for tuning in, everybody. Let's have some fun. Let's talk about gear. Let's talk about amps. Let's talk about guitars. Let's talk about recording. Let's talk about mixing. Let's talk about nonsense, whatever you guys want. Ask me anything. Let's get this ball rolling. I released a couple of cool videos this past week. One about the Metallica tone with my Mesa Boogie Mark 535 and my ESP LTD Iron Cross James Hetfield signature with the EMG headset. Watch that one if you haven't already, because it's a very cool video about me trying to dial in that Metallica tone. I also did a video on my top 5 favorite lunchbox amplifiers for metal, which was requested by a bunch of you guys. So that could be fun as well. So check those videos out. And thanks again for tuning in. Thanks for the likes, the comments, and subscribes, as that means a lot to me. I really appreciate it. And now let's move on with the questions. Ask me anything, guys. Aaron Figueroa. I'm sorry if I'm pronouncing your questions wrong. Okay. Tell me more about the 27.7 baritone that has the hip shot in your bridge, please. You mean this guitar, right? He's talking about my Mike Mushok PRS. Yeah, I got this used from a guy in the Netherlands that I sometimes still talk to, Jasper. He's a cool guy, and he traded this guitar for one of my Ibanez guitars. And it's a highly modded Mike Mushok PRS baritone. This used to be the one with burst top, so not the silver burst, but the brown burst or whatever it's called. I'm not sure. And it had a couple of things done on it. The bridge was replaced, apparently with a hip shot. It doesn't say hip shot, but it's supposed to be a hip shot. It has a deactivator, a DiMarzio deactivator in the bridge. It has this bevel over here, which they sort of cut out. They painted the guitar black because it wasn't black. It was, like I said, the burst thingy. It has black tuners on there now. So it's a stealthy metal beast. I need to do some more videos with this thing soon because it sounds pretty awesome. The bridge, yeah. I don't really have an opinion on this bridge. It's a solid bridge, but the regular 27.7 bridges are fine, in my opinion. But yeah, it's a cool guitar. I will use this on the channel soon, I promise. And thanks for reminding me. If you've got any questions about this guitar in particular, of course, let me know. Thanks for the question. And again, guys, thanks for tuning in. I'm going to put this guitar back and get back to you. Whoops. Okay. So, okay. All right. Okay. Raffish. Hey, John, will you do a review of the Iron Ball SE? It remains to be seen. There's nothing that I can say about that right now. Thanks for the question, though. Yeah, Aaron, it's a Mike Mushok. That's correct. Top looks flat. Yeah, but they added the bevel thingy. Chandler Motorsports. Perfect. Thanks. Great. Thanks for the question, guys. Dirt Racer X. Will it gin? That's a great question. Great question. All right. Keep the questions coming, guys. Let me know if you have any questions because I'm ready for it. I'm ready for it. All right. Manuel Casas, just stopping by to say your channel is amazing. Thank you so much. And you made me buy an orange. I'm so sorry. No, thanks so much for your comment and thanks for tuning in. And also, yeah, congrats with your new orange. Let me know which orange you got because that's quite important. Orange have a lot of cool amplifiers. I have about 11. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and there's one up here somewhere. Yeah, I have 11 orange amplifiers. I love them. I don't know if you guys saw my video on the top 5 favorite lunchbox amplifiers for metal. I have one comment because a couple of guys asked me why did I not include the engl Iron Ball here. I put the Fireball 25 spoiler alert. I put that on the first place as the best lunchbox amplifier for metal because it's an amazing amp. And why did I not put the engl Iron Ball in there? Well, it's an amazing amp. It's a 20-watt amplifier with 2 EL84s in the power section. It sounds very fierce and tight and focused. It's it's one of those amplifiers that really delivers. if you're into that very tight and focused sound without needing a boost pedal at all. And the cleans are great as well. But for that list, I just didn't want to include 2 amplifiers of the same brand. And in this case, I had to choose between those 2, and the Fireball just wins because it has 6L6s, and it's a little bit more all-round. But the Iron Ball is great for that very focused and tight sound. So I hope that helps for anyone who had that question. Thanks for tuning in, guys. Let's keep this ball rolling, because I'm getting a lot of questions here. Arthur Kakimov, any plans to release a preset pack for Helix or new tutorials? Oh man, I've got so many plans for videos. Helix tutorials, sure. Yeah, there will be some more Helix tutorials in the near future. Yes, and I will keep it in mind. Thanks for the request. I'm also going to do some blind tests. I'm going to do some fun little blind tests soon as well. Now, they're basically going to be guess the amplifier. So I'll play a couple of riffs, and you guys will have to guess what the amplifier is. Very plain and simple. It's going to be a lot of fun, so stay tuned for that as well. John Miller, hello, love your content. Thank you very much. I currently have a few high-end, high-gain amps, but I'm currently debating on a Diezel Herbert Mark III or a Hagen. Do you have any experience with them? I do not. I'm sorry. The Herbert's supposed to be awesome. I know that the guy from Alter Bridge, what's his name? Miles, plays that amp, and he loves it a lot. If I would get a Diezel, I would get a VH4. That's just one of my dream amps. Mainly, well, not mainly, but partially because of James Hetfield and other famous players that have used that amplifier. But the Herbert is supposed to be great as well. The Herbert. I haven't ever really heard about the Hagen. I'm sorry. I wish I had experience with those amplifiers, though, because I love them, but they're not really very affordable. So maybe I'll get a VH2 or VH4 on the channel one day. That would be great. All right. Dirt Racer X asks, how do you decide what amp to play when you have so many? Man, that's a great question. Well, it depends. Sometimes I'm playing some riffs on a certain guitar that just ask for a certain tone. For example, if I'm doing something very classic rocky, usually I'll grab either the SV20H Marshall Plexi thingy, or something like the Wong's 2204 HW, which is kind of a JCM 800. If I'm playing a sort of 90s nu metal rock, hard rock kind of thing, my rectifiers do a great job. If I'm playing something sort of stonery-ish or whatever, I'll pick one of my oranges. And I just like to switch things around. Sometimes I just want to try something different, and I grab this one, or I grab this one, and let's play through that amplifier and see what comes up. So it really depends on the circumstances. But thanks for the question. It's hard to answer. But I tried to give them all sort of equal attention, but it's not easy. HCB, I just bought a Helix because of you, man. I hope you release presets. Thank you for the comment. Well, my presets always tend to be very simple and straightforward. Amp block, IR block, maybe some reverb, and that's it. And also, sometimes for clean tones, I add like a compressor in parallel with the mix set at about 40%. And then the new Hall reverb sounds really nice. And then like a stereo delay. Wow. Keep your eyes out for my new 9-string video that I've got coming in the coming month. It's called 9+ minutes of 9-string music. And there are some cool ambient clean tones in there as well. All Helix native. Should be fun. Riff and Destroy. Hello, I'm a customer and huge fan from Brazil. What's your gear for Capture the IR? I think that preamp. Well, let me tell you, I don't make IRs, and I currently don't work for Ownhammer anymore. I love Ownhammer, and the creator of Ownhammer is a very great friend. but it's time for new adventures. But if you have technical questions about the impulse responses, definitely send Ownhammer a message. I can't really answer anything about that. But thanks for tuning in, and thanks for the question. Chandler Motorsports. Deftones, Ohms, and Gojira Fortitude really blew my mind. Agree. What albums make you feel like they're moving past the new wave of American metal and doing something truly new? Well, those two examples are great examples. Like Deftones, Ohms is a great album. I actually made a review of that album that no one's going to watch probably. But yeah, I talk about that album in a video that's coming out soon because it's a great album. I really love that album. And Fortitude by Gojira also really is a great album. So I really enjoy those two as well. I'm not really entirely sure how to answer your question completely about the new wave of American metal. But metal bands that I like to listen to are some older bands like Metallica and Iron Maiden and stuff like that. But of course, Deftones, Gojira, and Meshuggah, they're also some of my favorite metal bands. Yeah, I love them. I hope that sort of answers your question. But for more about Deftones Ohms, stay tuned for my review because it's coming out soon. Just to hear me rambling for 15 minutes about that album. Majestic PB and J Cat. What a cool name. What a long name too. Hey John, I just picked up the Red Sparkle Stephen Carpenter 8-string. Yeah. Oh, that's such a killer guitar. Let me grab that guitar. I'll be right back. 1 second. Just gonna grab this wonderful guitar. So Majestic PB and J Cat is talking about this Red Sparkle ESP LTD 8-string. Man, this is such a cool guitar. Check it out. I love this thing. And he's asking me about the string gauges. Okay, so I have this thing tuned to standard tuning. Standard, I mean an 8-string. How standard is that, really? But I have a set of 9s on here. So the bottom strings are just a set of 9s. Elixirs, of course, because I only use elixirs. I refuse to use anything else. Then I have I believe it's a 54 for the low B, or a 56, but I think a 54. And then a .074 elixir, plain guitar string, which is just perfect for this guitar in F sharp. So yeah, I hope that helps. Elixir is having trouble with their production as of right now. So they're really hard to get, but there was this Dutch web store that was selling 2 of these. So I snatched them. So I'm sorry about that. But look out for the guitar .070 elixir string for the low F sharp, because it's a great string for this guitar for 27 inches. And it sounds surprisingly snarly and cool. Yeah. But yeah, this guitar is just killer. I wish I could use them all in every single video. Just going to put this back in the rack. Don't go. Don't go. Yeah, elixir strings on all my guitars. All right. But congrats with your new guitar. Also, let us know how you're enjoying that guitar, because it's a really good guitar. I love mine, and the pickups are great too. Aaron Figueroa, the bevel have been confused. Yeah, they modded the Magma Shock PRS baritone. Hey, everybody, thanks for tuning in. Welcome to the live stream. Thanks for all your likes, comments, and subscribes these past weeks. These past weeks have been a little bit nuts because I've started doing this full time, actually, alongside mixing and other side jobs. But this is my main thing right now, and I've got a lot of cool content coming up very soon, and some other changes that will happen soon. So yeah, your support means the world to me. So I'm really thankful for all your support, your comments, your likes, because all those things help to boost the channel a little bit for the YouTube algorithm. So thanks so much, guys. And yeah, thanks for tuning in. If you have any questions, just let me know, and I'd be happy to answer those to the best of my abilities. John Hall, happy Friday, y'all. Hope the week have been great for you. Has been great. Yeah. Thank you. You too. My week has been good. I hope your week has been good too. Okay, let's continue. Judo Koala. Yeah. Welcome back. When considering the 6505 MH versus the Invective MH, I did a video on that, by the way. Which configuration did you prefer? Tight mode on the crunch channel for rhythm like the 6505 or tight on the lead for rhythm like the Invective? Let me see. Let me see if I can understand that question. Which configuration did you prefer? Tight mode on crunch? Tight mode on crunch. Well, there's no crunch channel on the Invective MH. Tight on the lead channel. Well, let me just say for high gain, I'm not really a super fan of the tight switch. I prefer it without the tight switch, basically. But the boost switch is a great way to get it a little bit more tight and gnarly and aggressive. But yeah, I'm not sure I understand the question correctly. Anyway, just let me know if you have any more questions about those amplifiers, the 6505 MH and the Invective MH. Let me know. All right. Marty V, will you add a Diezel Herbert to your collection ever? Man, I would love to, but I do not have any immediate plans as of right now. But I'd love to have a Diezel in my collection, especially a VH4 or VH2. I would settle for a VH2 as well. Judo Koala, sorry for asking about them each week. I'm still trying to decide. I have a Dark Terror currently, and I want to get a tight modern amp. Sure. Yeah, the Dark Terror is great, but it's not really a super tight metal amp, at least not without a boost. So yeah, well, I mean, if you want something super tight, the engl Iron Ball, which is behind here, or the Iron Ball, or the Fireball 25, super tight, or an EVH LBX, also very tight. This one isn't super tight by default because it has the boost switch, which is super handy, actually. And this one needs kind of a boost to get a little bit more tight. So I'd say if you're choosing between these two, for super tight, go with the Invective MH, or look for an engl Iron Ball. I'm selling this one, by the way, just so you know, but only for Dutch people who have a car and stuff. Okay, let's continue. Shirley Jamie. Okay, this is going to be a fun one. When miking a 2x12 using two mics, say a dynamic and a condenser, what are the pros and cons to miking one speaker versus miking both speakers? Great question that I can't really answer because I don't mic my cabinets, because I use impulse responses exclusively, because that's really my jam, as they say, as the young people say. Yeah, I'm just really into impulse responses. I'm currently trying out some brands that I hadn't tried before, which I'm really enjoying, by the way. So yeah, I'm not the best person to answer miking questions because I'm just really into that load box, tube amplifier into a load box thing. That's just my thing. So sorry that I really can't really answer that question, but do look up some videos on YouTube about miking up guitar cabinets. I think there are plenty out there, and those will be able to answer your questions. Thanks for tuning in, everybody. Let me know if you got any questions. I'm going to try to get through them all. I promise. John Hall says, I have zero regrets on purchasing and waiting 2 months for my engl Fireball 25. Yeah. Might be the best thing I've ever bought, and John's videos helped a lot in my decision. It's an inspiration to play. Great to hear. And it's also very solid, right? And when you hold it in your hand, it's like, oh, this is a solid amplifier. It's just as solid as the big 100-watt Fireball, but then smaller. Absolutely love that amplifier. Congrats on your purchase. And it was #1, spoiler alert, on my top 5 favorite lunchbox amplifiers for metal. It's a great amp. All right. Dirt Racer X. I'm holding out for an Iron Ball SE, built-in IR loader for the win. I can't really comment on that for spoilerific reasons. But yeah, it seems to be a great amplifier. Michael van Gelder. I'm just saying it in the English way instead of Michael van Gelder. Michael van Gelder, which is the Dutch way or Belgian way to pronounce that. Love all of your tones. Very inspiring. Thank you so much. How about a video of how you are dialing in your amps along with miking the cabinet or setting up an IR and then setting it up in the mix? Okay, so basically my process is super simple. It's way too simple. So it starts by me recording my guitars. Usually, or sometimes what I do is I record my tracks via my XFX, which I really enjoy. It's a great piece of gear. And then I record my DI tracks. And then later I'll change the sound with a tube amplifier. Or sometimes I play it through the tube amplifier. It depends. So then I have my DI tracks, right, in my DAW. And then I hook up my amplifier to my XFX. From one of the outputs of my XFX, I go with a hum buster cable into the amplifier for reducing the hum that the 4-cable method thing seems to induce sometimes. Then the DI signal gets sent from the XFX into the amplifier. I tweak some knobs. I put a matching IR in the XFX where the amp goes back into after the load box. I hope I'm still making sense. So then we have a DI track into an amplifier, into an impulse response, right? And then in my DAW. Now, what I then do is I choose the right IR, tweak the amplifier a little bit, and usually then it's quickly already done. I don't do a lot of EQ. If I feel like I need to EQ the tones, I just go back, choose another IR, tweak the amp settings and stuff like that. But I try to avoid EQ on guitars as much as humanly possible, because to me, EQ on guitars always, well, not always, but very often sounds a little bit unnatural. I do low cuts on guitars though, like at 80 hertz, or sometimes with super low tunings, like an 8-string guitar at around 70 hertz or so, and sometimes higher for leads or clean guitars at around 100 hertz or something. But like I said, I try to avoid EQ as much as possible. Sometimes after the fact, I feel that the guitars aren't scooped enough or something, then I'll do a little very broad scoop, just like 1 or 2 decibels, but I never do any surgical stuff or anything like that. So when you use great IRs, you don't really need to. All right. Could be very different if you were miking up your cabinet or, or using bad IRs or something like that. But in my case, I like to use very good IRs so that, yeah, you don't really have to do a whole lot of EQing, which is great because that allows you to make some awesome music, hopefully without doing too much, spending too much time on trying to get things right. So get things right at the source. That's the most important thing, I think. John Mumford, what is your dream guitar? That's a great question. Well, I have a bunch of amazing guitars. I have a beautiful PRS single cut 58, which is very nice. It's a very classic sounding guitar. I have a lot of amazing LTD guitars that I really love. If there was one guitar that a dream guitar that I do not have yet that I would love to have, there'd be 2 answers basically. One would be a Gibson Les Paul Custom, a Black Beauty. I used to have one, and I sold it in order to pay for my very first XFX, which was years ago. I don't regret that because the XFX has done a lot for me. But that's one of those guitars that I would love to have in my hands again one day, because I just love Gibson Les Paul Customs, the black ones. However, I'd also love an Ibanez M8M, the Meshuggah Custom Shop 8-string. Man, that's a dream guitar. So those 2 are dream guitars. Thanks for the question. That was a fun one. Suomi Perkele. Good evening, people. Hi. Thanks for tuning in. And everybody, thanks for tuning in. Thanks for hanging. Thanks for tolerating my ridiculousness. And also keep the questions coming. Let me know if you guys have any questions, because, yeah, I'm here to answer them all. Harry Morgan, who is your guitar hero? Oh, man. Thanks for the question. Awesome question. And thanks for tuning in. There isn't an easy answer because I've got a bunch of guitar heroes, but I'll do my best. So It started when I was 11 years old, so that's a long time ago because I'm getting old. I'm getting old. Noel Gallagher from Oasis was my first guitar hero. Then came Metallica, so James Hetfield and Kirk Hammett. Then came Iron Maiden, so the guys from Iron Maiden, the three guitarists, you all know who they are. Then came Stephen Carpenter from Deftones. He was a huge influence on me as well. Steve Vai came along. He was a huge influence, obviously. The guys from Meshuggah, man, those are a huge influence to me as well. So those are a bunch of great examples for guitar heroes. There are more. There are definitely more, but those are some of the guitarists that have had a huge inspiration on me. But there are so many great players out there, definitely. But those guys that I just mentioned, definitely. I mean, I've got some Metallica signature guitars. I've got some Deftones signature guitars. I have this Meshuggah signature guitar. So that should give an indication on what some of my favorite guitarists are. But thanks for the question. That was also a fun question. You guys are killing it tonight. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in. Everybody who's tuning in just now, welcome. And drop me any question you'd like to ask, and I'll do my best to answer them all. I'm taking my time here with the answers. Sorry, guys, if it's taking a little while to get to your questions, but you can always watch the stream back later. All right, Dirt Racer X. Ohms is a great album. Best thing they've put out since White Pony, in my honest opinion. Great. If you want something truly crazy, listen to Car Bomb. Yeah, Car Bomb is cool. I've seen them live once as the pre-show for opening up for Gojira, which was also very cool, but I didn't see the full set. I've talked to the guitarist on Instagram a couple times. He's a great guy. And he plays these baritone explorers, and he does this really weird and cool stuff with effects and pitch shifters and really weird timing things. Really think he's a great guitarist. About Ohms, I love the self-titled album by Deftones, obviously, because that really inspired me to get into 7-string baritone guitars, because before I heard that album, I wasn't really aware of baritone guitars. I talk about this in a video that's coming out soon about my favorite guitar tones albums. So the self-titled album was a huge influence on me, so I really love that album as well. Saturday Night Wrist is very cool, but less good than those two. And then after that, we got Diamond Eyes, which is a very good album, to be honest, in my opinion. Koi no Yokan is also cool, but a little less to the point than Diamond Eyes. And then we get Gore. Not my favorite, to be honest. But yeah, Ohms is great. Istvan Nagi. It will be great to see a Diezel Herbert amplifier in your collection. Keep up the great videos. Thank you so much. Yeah, it would be awesome. I'd love that. All right. Freaky Nomad. Bro, Joyo Bantamp, Vivo Zombie, or Orange Micro Terror Dark for metal and gent tones. I haven't tried the Joyo amps yet. I might one day. The micro oranges aren't really amazing for super tight tones. You'll probably need to use some sort of boost up front, to be honest. For those types of tones, for a low budget, I would just recommend getting something like the 6505 MH with a boost pedal or something, to be honest. The orange micro amps are more suited for rock, in my opinion. Not really great metal amplifiers. All right, William Theory. Hi, John. If you like some gent, perhaps you should check out Scarve and Hacrid too, if you don't already know them, of course. I'm not I'm not a super gent listener, to be honest. I love Meshuggah, but I'm not like a huge gent fan. But I'll look them up. Thanks for the suggestion. Thank you, John Hall. Yeah, Car Bomb is pretty extreme. Yeah, Car Bomb. Yeah, man. I'm gonna try to pronounce this name. Chapo de Paille 28. Hi, when you're double tracking high gain stuff, if you do so, do you lower the gain for each track? And how do you know the perfect spot for having a clear and upfront tight sound? Thanks. Okay. Yeah, I usually double track. I never really quad track because to me, the definition loses. It loses a little bit of definition when you do quad tracking. I'm going to do a video on that sometime soon, by the way. A mono track versus a fake double tracked guitar versus a double tracked guitar versus a quad tracked part, and we'll look at the differences. I do not lower the gain for each track. I'm not one of those folks who says, you know, the lower the gain, the better. Some people are all about that, but I like a nice amount of gain to get some nice juice and a chunk out of my guitars. So, and how do you know the perfect spot for having a clear and upfront tight sound? That's a great question. Well, it's just a matter of tweaking and going. It's a matter of, yeah, feeling. Hard to explain. It's something that kind of comes naturally, I guess. I don't really have a clear answer for you as of right now. Yeah, just train your ears, use great IRs, or mic your cabinet up in a way that achieves the sound that you're after. Sometimes using pedals helps, but I don't like to use a lot of pedals. I like to keep my signal chain very simple. So guitar, amplifier, load box, good impulse response, et voila. Depends. It depends. But yeah, I just go by my feeling and tweak until it sounds right. Suomi, too bad that you refuse to use anything else than elixirs because the R strings are the bomb, or at least I think so. Well, I believe you. I mean, there are plenty of strings out there that are great, but I love elixirs so much, and they last long, and I have a lot of guitars here, so I don't want to change my strings too often. That's one of the main reasons, but they're very clear sounding and they feel smooth as well. So yeah, William agrees with me. Yeah, great strings. John Miller, thanks for the response. Agreed, the VH4 is certainly my most wanted amp, which is why I'm waiting to add it to my collection. Yeah, me too. What is your dream amp? Well, that's a great question. I've got a video coming out soon with like 7 of my dream amps or something. Stay tuned for that video. But the VH4 definitely is on there. But I've already recorded that video, and I'm going to talk about my dream amps. It's going to be called My Favorite Amps That I Do Not Own Yet. Stay tuned for that video. Surfan, hey, thanks for tuning in. As always, love the channel and tones you dial in. Thank you so much. Hope all is well. Thank you. I'm well. I hope you're well too. Any chance of a drum programming walkthrough? Oh, definitely. I've been asked about that a couple times, and it's definitely on the list of things to do. The problem is that every time when I'm programming drums, I'm just very inspired and I want to get it done. And then I always try to remind myself, oh, I have to record a tutorial on programming drums, and I'll do it next time because I want to get it done, you know? But usually what I do is just I grab a template in Cubase with my favorite drum sound. I record some raw riffs, and then I program my drums all by hand with my mouse in the Cubase drum editor, and that's it. But I will make a video on that soon after my vacation. Thanks for the question, and I will keep it in mind. Stay tuned. Thanks. Manuel Casas, probably discussed before. What's your go-to, if any, signal chain when recording real cabs? Well, like I said earlier, I never record real cabs. I prefer impulse responses. Sorry for not being the perfect person to answer that question. Jason Wade, any ideas on how to combat neck dive on my LCD EC 100,000, 10,000 deluxe Seymour Duncan model? I love the way it plays and sounds, but I've gotten to where I don't play it much because of the neck dive. That's too bad. I've had that problem in the past a couple times, and I just sold the guitars. But I've heard of people putting weights on their straps, so on the side where it, on the low side of the body, put some lead on the strap to make it balanced. It could help. I've thought about that once, but I usually sit down with my guitars these days. But I hope that helps, Jason. Putting weights on your strap or on the guitar itself could also help, like blocks of lead or something. It might protect you from radiation as well. Sven Jesk, welcome. Are there amps that you like to combine? For example, a Marshall to fill out the mid-range of a recto. Any combinations that you like? Well, great question. Thanks. I need to do a video on this because as I said before, I like to keep my signal chains very simple. One amplifier, one cabinet. So I never really blend amplifiers, but it's something that I should experiment with. So I'm going to do some videos on that, hopefully within a couple of months or so. Stay tuned, but thanks for the question, Sven. Morten Hvid, love your videos. Thank you. You're the reason I bought my engl Fireball 100. Oh, dude, you bought a very killer amplifier. I love this amp so much. It's one of the best amplifiers in my collection, in fact. If you watch my 41 amplifiers, one riff 41 amplifiers video, if you haven't seen that video, go watch it because it's so cool. But yeah, this one sounds so good in that video. I love it. Congrats on your engl. Suomi, I have a German sounding name and I used it to study in Belgium for a year, English classes on the Dutch side, and I couldn't recognize my name when teachers called me. A German, Suomi. Perkele. Oh man, I wish I could pronounce your name. I'm so sorry. Because of the Dutch pronunciation that I'm not used to at all. I wish I knew how to pronounce your name. Guys, Suomi Perkele. He's a nice person that keeps hanging out at these live streams, but I do not know how to pronounce his name. Help me out, guys. Let me know how to pronounce his name. I always thought it was like Spanish or whatever, Suomi Perkele, but I guess I'm wrong because it's a German name. Damn, I want to know how to pronounce that. Please let me know. William Thury, come on, no boutique guitars in your dream guitar list? Kiesel, Mayonis, Aristides, Hampas. No, I'm sorry. I'm not really a person who enjoys those super fancy handmade guitars, to be honest. Like I said, the Gibson Les Paul Custom is my dream guitar alongside the Ibanez M8M Custom Shop, Ibanez Meshuggah 8-string. But yeah, other than that, I'm pretty content with my affordable ESP LTD guitars and some of the more expensive other ones. But yeah, I really like those ESPs and, some Fendery stuff, some PRS stuff. I guess I'm a simple guy when it comes to guitars. EC Painter, was that an LTD Eclipse behind you? Yeah, this one. I was talking about this guitar earlier in the video. This is my LTD EC1000T full thickness Eclipse with an EMG 57 and an EMG 66 in the neck. And I've been playing this guitar a lot over the past week. I've been writing riffs on it, recording some riffs with it, and you'll be seeing more of this guitar on the channel soon. I love this guitar. Yeah, I love it. Eclipses are nice. I love my Eclipses, really do. John Hall says, okay, John, question on the Fireball 25 clean channel. I've noticed that your preamp gain affects the effects loop signal in a way that the lead channel doesn't. Is this your experience too? Good question. I hardly ever use effects loops, so I can't really answer that question. I'm sorry. Maybe put that question in the engl Amplifiers Facebook group. I hope that will help. Michael says, goodbye. Have a great weekend. See ya. Alex Andrita, you're awesome. Thanks for the tricks. Thank you. I appreciate it. William Thury, also, what's your opinion? I'm imagining your name as being English. William Thury, also, what's your opinion, love, for Devin Townsend? Well, Devin Townsend's great. I've seen him live a couple times, but I don't really have any albums because it's not my taste. But I think he's amazing, and he's a great musician and a great guitarist and all that stuff. But just not something that has grabbed me personally. Aaron Buckroll, John, okay, let's see. Did it take you very long to understand tone and achieve something you were proud of? Many people seem to struggle to get the sounds they want. It's a long process, I guess. I mean, at first, well, you know, I guess what helped was that when I was very young and when I was playing guitar, when I was like in my, you know, teens, when I was like 12 or 13, I had this Boss ME5 multi-effect thing without speaker emulation, and I plugged that into my computer, and it got me recorded guitar tones. And then like a world opened up for me. Wow, I can now record my guitars. It sounded like absolute crap, but it was a way for me to record my guitars, and that's where it all started. So that's a long time ago. And from there, of course, I got some modelers, basic, very simple and old school modelers with speaker emulation. And that really helped to get some recording ready tones, if that makes sense. And then I just kept on trying and kept on getting new gear and working on that. And I think since I started getting these tube amps that I've really started to sort of hone in on what a tube amplifier sound is supposed to be like, because I was using a lot of modelers prior to that. And since I have these tube amps, it really has taught me a lot about how a tone should be. So anytime that I now use a modeler, I have the reference of all these amplifiers, and then I notice like, oh, this doesn't sound completely right. And then I know how to tweak a modeler as well because of my experience with the tube amps. So I guess what really helps is to get a tube amplifier and really work with that. And that will really help you, I think. And some proper impulse responses, or learn how to mic up your cabinet. Even with an SM57 could be good. Super Guapo. Hello, John. Can you make an 80s tone video? Thanks so much. Sure, I could do that. It's not really what I do often, but it's something that I should look into. I've done some videos with 80s tones, but I should do more. Oh, I'm sorry. It's not you, it's me. Blame it on my kids. Okay. Yeah, thanks for that suggestion. I'll keep that in mind. Alex and Rita, for me, Conspiranoia album from Crisix have a superior level of production. What's your opinion of the guitar tone? Ooh, I'll have to look into that first. I'll have to look into that. Remind me, put a comment in the comment section and let me know to check out that, and I will check it out for you. Harre or Harre H. I'm struggling to choose between a Friedman JJ, a Double J Junior, a Mesa Mark 535, or a Mesa Mini Rectifier. Which would be your choice? I play mostly heavy rock and metal like yourself. Okay, I'm just going to answer that as straightforward as I can. In that case, I would go for the Mini Rectifier. The Friedman Double J Junior is great, but it's not really a metal amplifier, to be honest. It does not have that super soaring high gain. It has high gain, but it's more a rock amplifier or grunge or whatever. You can do metal with it, of course, especially with some sort of boost, but it's not the most chunky and huge sounding metal amplifier. So no Double J Junior. The Mesa Mark 535 is great, but it's not really an easy amplifier to dial in. It's very tight and all that stuff, and it can sound really great, but I prefer the fatness and chunkiness of a rectifier. So I would personally go for the Mini Rectifier, but that's my taste. I mean, there are other options out there as well. So, I mean, the engl Fireball 25, that's a great option as well. I hope that helps. And thanks again for the questions. Thanks for tuning in, guys. Really appreciate it. If you have any questions, drop them here. I'm going to stick around for a little while. And also, thanks for the likes, comments, and subscribes. It means a lot to me. Rob says, your videos are awesome. Thanks for what you do, sir. Thank you so much for your comment. I appreciate it. HCB says, you should do a cover. Maybe. I've thought about it sometimes, but then I was like, nah. So maybe. I don't know. John Miller. What is your take on Evertune bridges? If you've ever used one, does it affect your tone? I would imagine removing that much wood would make the tone quite bright. Yeah, I haven't tried one, and I don't really see the need to try one for the reasons you mentioned. I don't mind tuning my guitar. Sometimes my intonation isn't perfect and stuff like that, but again, it's rock and roll. I program my drums, so that's already super tight and on the grid. So sometimes my guitars are a little bit loose on the tuning or intonation side. I try to not let me bother that too much. So for me, I'm not really interested in the Evertune system yet, but who knows? If I try one, it might change the game for me. Thanks for the question. HCB, you are the Helix father. Well, thank you. I need to do more Helix videos. I'm going to do a video where I compare my Double J Junior to the Placator Dirty soon. Farzad fights. How frequent do you have to change your tubes? Great question. I've only changed the tubes in my rectifier because that's an older amplifier. A lot of these amps are quite new and I don't use them very often, so I haven't had the need to change any more tubes. It will happen at some point. Okay, so Suomi says, my real name is totally different. Suomi Perkeli is Finnish. Try Suomi Perkeli in Google Translate. It's Finnish devil or something. Ah, it's not your real name. Okay. Okay. Perkeli is a curse word. Perkeli. Perkele. Perkele. Perkele? You've been cursed. Oh, I've been cursed. Oh my God. Thanks for letting us know. HCB asks, dude, where do you get the buck to buy all that? That's a question that people ask me. My number one answer is work. Number two is prioritize. I'm going to be honest here. I don't have a car. I don't even have a license. Okay? That's your answer. Keep the questions coming, guys. I'm going to stick around for a little while before I doze off. Okay, let's... Oh, Noel Fernandez. I recently got the mini rectifier because of your shootout videos. It's incredibly versatile. I would say even more than the Big Brother rectifier. Yeah, it's great, man. Maybe you're right because it's very versatile because the low gain tones are great as well. I wouldn't get rid of my dual rectifier. I love that amplifier, but the mini rectifier is so cool. Love that amp. Suomi means Finland. Ah, okay. Thanks for the explanation. All right. William, 30. Cool. Cheers for the honest, direct replies. I was just yanking your chain about the boutique guitars. I'm an Ibanez Jackson fan myself, but I'd like a Hapas too someday. Sure. Yo, tastes are different. I'm just a fan of LTD and stuff like that. So yeah. Let's see. Marty V, the amp racks look cool too and sturdy. What brand is that? Where in the Netherlands can we get those? Yeah, I ordered them at, they were like 25 euros per rack at a hardware store. Oh man, Gamma or something, or the other one. I don't remember. They were very affordable, and they were one of the few ones in black or dark gray. If you really want to know, I can look it up for you if you shoot me a private message on Instagram or something. But just look for Stellingkasten and black, zwart. That may help. And at Gamma or the other hardware store. Okay, let's see. Let's continue. There's a lot of banter about names and stuff. Oh, William Ferry. Gewoon hartstikke gezellig in dezelfde taal. All right. Okay, let's answer some more questions, guys. I want the Samick made Guilds, $4.99 for the walnut semi-hollow and single cut. Oh, sounds cool. I'm not familiar with those guitars, so I can't really answer that question. I'm sorry. John Miller, last question. What's your opinion on Splawn amps? great question. I've never tried a Splon. I've only tried the XFX model years ago. I'll try them again soon. I don't really have an opinion. I'm sorry. I'd love to try one, of course. Istvan Nagy, what's your favorite 6-string guitar pickup for versatility? Do you prefer a specific combination between amps and pickups? Great question. I don't really have a favorite. I like to have more options available. So, for example, this week I've been playing a lot on this Eclipse with the EMGs, and then I usually lean towards rectifier amplifiers. And when I use passive pickups, I usually lean to other types of amps like Oranges or Marshalls. But it really depends on the music. There are no rules. I've got a guitar here with a bare knuckle Aftermath in the bridge, which is an amazing sounding guitar, very clear. It's a very unique sounding guitar. And then I've got some with the Fishmans, and those are also great. So it really depends on a bunch of factors, basically. But thanks for the question. Okay, so I'm going to do a couple more questions. If you've got any questions that you really want to ask me, let me know right now, or otherwise we'll have to do that some other time. Let's see. Later, John. See you and peace. Emery Sinclair. I'm curious about the master on the Double J. Is it tapered well, or does it go from quiet to loud quickly? Great question. Whew. I think it was tapered well, but I can't promise you as of right now. Because as I said, I usually play through my load box and then the level isn't an issue at all. But I think it's pretty smooth. But I can't promise you. Sorry. Tim Stockers, are you going to watch the new Masters of the Universe show, or did you start out with Thundercats and have no interest in it? I've never been a huge Masters of the Universe fan, to be honest. When I was young, I did like the Thundercats. So maybe I'll check it out. If it's cool, I'll watch it. If it's not cool, I won't. Brian Jones, feelings on big amps with attenuators versus lower watt amps. I love both. That's my answer, because I really do love both. I think that a tiny terror can sound huge, and I think that a dual rectifier can also sound huge in their own way. I love both. It depends on the setting as well. Since I use my load box for a lot of my stuff, it's an issue. It's not an issue again. So because of my setup, which is so flexible, it doesn't matter if I use a big amplifier or a small one. So yeah, to me, it really doesn't matter. I mean, the small ones are fun, and they're easy to move around, and it's fun to get great tones out of a small amplifier. It has something rewarding almost, if that makes sense. Kind of weird maybe to say that. But yeah, big or small, I love them all. That rhymed. Funny. Thanks for the question, Brian. Marty V, yeah, then I have the same ones in silver, but I really want them black. I'm not sure what that is in reference to, but Joe, all right. When the first JVR album coming out, I remember being told Alain received the demos. He laid down bass tracks. Can we expect any more singles? I'm not sure who Alain is, so I'm not sure who that is. Man, I'd love to do more content with JVR. That was a couple of years ago, but Roger, who is the singer, is one of my favorite singers of all time, and I would love to work more with him. He was on this chat like an hour ago. Maybe he left, but yeah, I want to make music with him, definitely. Maybe under another name, I don't care, but I want him to sing over my riffs, I should say. William, perhaps this has been asked before too, but what are your favorite pickups for tight metal? Seymour Duncans, EMGs, Lundgrens, Fishmans. Fishmans are pretty tight, the moderns on the active voicing, but something like a Seymour Duncan JB is also tight and articulate. For example, my LTD SC20, the Stephen Carpenter signature 6-string with the Seymour Duncan JB in the bridge, sounds super tight. and articulate and aggressive. EMGs aren't super tight usually, in my opinion. So for tight and Lundgrens are amazing too. I only have the M8s on the 8 string, so it's kind of hard to judge it just on that. They're a little bit pricey. I guess Seymour Duncan's or Fishman's are pretty tight. Yeah. Good evening. Thank you for amazing videos. They're so helpful. Thank you. How do you think, okay, guy. Okay, I can't pronounce your name, but you're asking, how do you think, what is the best lunchbox amp for modern metal? Dude, I released a video yesterday about my top 5 favorite lunchbox amplifiers for metal. So you should check that out because I put my top 5 favorite amps in there for metal. It wasn't an easy video to make because there are so many great amps out there, but I hope it helps. So check out that video, and thanks for the question, and thanks for tuning in. I'm going to do a couple more questions, and then I'm going to go. So if you have any more questions, let me know right now. Otherwise, we'll have to do it next time. Alex asks, personal question. What is your favorite band ever? Ooh, man. There isn't one favorite band. There are a bunch. Oh, man. Deftones, Meshuggah, Metallica, Oasis, Iron Maiden, Dream Theater, Gojira. Those are a bunch. Ooh, hard. That's a hard one. All right. Cheers again. Keep up the cool work. Thank you. Thanks, guys. Thanks so much. Hi, John. I usually you double your guitar takes, but what is your favorite approach to spread your guitar tone if you do just one take? I never do that. Sometimes I will use an enhancer effect or something, but I just do double tracking. But if you're going to play live and you want a very wide sound, something like an enhancer or like a short delay on one side can help to make it sound huge. So, let's see. Joe, no, those are the only ones for now from JVR. I hope that helps. Okay, guys, I'm gonna go. Thank you so much for hanging out, and yeah, I really appreciate it. I appreciate all the likes, the comments, and subscribes. It means the world to me. Stay tuned for many more videos that are coming soon. If you have any questions for me, you can always drop them in the comments below the videos or ask them at my weekly live streams every Friday. For now, I might change the day at some point to Wednesday. I'm going to try that after my vacation. I'm going to do one more live stream very soon, next week, Friday, and maybe the week after that as well. And then I'll be away for 3 weeks until the end of August. So if you guys want to hang out and ask me questions, we can do that next week at Friday or the week after, or 3 or 4 weeks after that. So thank you guys a lot. Have a great evening or a great day. Stay tuned for awesome videos coming very soon. And thank you again so much, guys, for your support. And yeah, thanks for hanging out and thanks for the questions. And I hope to see you soon. Rock on, guys. Rock on. See you soon. Bye.